have pizza and beer and movie night with Grandma Jane.
Yes.
This is a real treat.
For us too.
I love pizza. What had happened is I went to teach school in Scobie, Montana, which was Gerald's hometown.
Right.
Okay, when I went there in September, of course, I didn't see him. He was away in Missoula at college. He was a freshman in college. And so, the first time I saw him was winter break. He was home from the university for about 3 days, before I had to leave to go back to North Dakota to my home for the holidays.
Yep.
And so it either had to be within a 1 or 2 day thing or it never would have happened.
Yeah.
But it did happen that I had a day or two left of teaching and he was home on leave. And he had been quite a basketball player. And I had seen his pictures up in the, in the hallway.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought, God, that's a good-looking guy, And I thought, well, he's gone, so forget about him. And so it was the funniest thing. A friend of his, another guy who was home too on leave, was standing there in the hall, and he saw me coming from the my teaching, for my classroom where I'd been teaching. He saw me, and I thought, just click, click, he thought, oh God, introduce Jerry. And he did, and I thought, then I connected him up with the guy I would see in these pictures, basketball player. I thought,
Yeah.
And so then, it was 2 days, and when I would be going back to my brother would be coming from North Dakota to take me home for the holiday, and then Jerry would be staying there in Scobie. And so I thought, well, nice meeting you, guy, but I'm afraid that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm leaving for home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, in those days they had before a break, a Christmas break or whatever kind of a break, they would have a coming together of all the high school, all the teachers, and everybody, kind of a farewell for 2 weeks. You know, we'll be back again.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there with my class was sitting in front of me, and I turned around, and right behind me was sitting Gerald. I thought, what's he doing here? You know, and he looked at me and he winked and he said, I'll see you afterwards, you know. So at noon then, when I went back to my apartment for lunch, he was there. I mean, he wasn't in there, but you know.
By outside.
Yeah, and he said, oh, and he had this puppy. He had a little dog named Max.
Oh, really?
Yes. And of course, he never saw Max because he was at Missoula all the time. So he would take the little dog with him. And so he was standing waiting outside of my apartment with little Max here. And that was his excuse. He wanted to show me his dog.
And it's adorable, I bet. You can't turn down a puppy.
Then the next cute thing he did was, you know, we all smoked in those days, and we all had lighters. And
I remember you telling me.
Gerald left his lighter in my apartment, and so the next morning I would be going back to North Dakota again, and I suppose he thought, well, she's going to try to get that lighter back to me before. And sure enough, that's what I did. And so he says, I'll write to you. And I thought, well, my gosh, I'm only going to, you know, I'll be back there. And then by the time I get back to Scobie, you'll be back in Missoula again. But anyway, he made sure he hadn't gone back. And so I could write a book about that romance. It was just one of those neat stories.
Yeah. Thanks for telling us that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just such a precious thing when it happens. Made my day.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Good night, honey.
Thank you for the wine.
Oh yes, anytime.
All right.
Have a good trip home.
Thank you. Love you so much.
Yes, we love you so much.
Thank you, and I do too.